March 19th. They'll look to return the favor today. Dylan Jacobs facing Max Williams. Our first pitch is a fastball called to strike on the outside corner by Kevin Flay, our home plate umpire tonight. We are underway. Max Williams batting .311 at the top of the Seminole order. His 36th start out of 50 games for FSU. Williams, a sophomore from Ormond Beach, Florida, takes another strike at 92. It's 1-2. I'd say it's about a 50-50 split in terms of support tonight between the crimson and gold and the green and white. 1-2. Struck him out. 93 up and in. Blew Williams away, and there's one out.
Well, there's a reason why Dylan Jacobs started his career at Florida State, right? Because of natural gas just like that. He's refined a little bit since his time in Tallahassee, as Max Williams found out with that heater right on the inside black.
So here is Florida State's top prospect, Cam Smith, expected to be a first-round pick this July into Major League Baseball, hitting .387, 12 home runs, 46 RBI. He is a draft-eligible sophomore. Has cut his strikeout rate nearly in half from his freshman year and has improved tremendously at third base as well.
Not just that, Evan, but in the series against Pittsburgh, he had his 56 game on-base streak snapped in the Friday night loss.
He followed it up, though, by going 4 for 6 with a home run and 5 RBI on Sunday.
Yeah, but still, to be on base for 56 straight, that's essentially the entire college baseball season.
Pretty amazing.
That's remarkable.
1-2. And he just gets a piece of the breaking ball, fouls it off. We'll do it again.
Yeah, and part of that streak included the 1-0 win FSU had over Stetson. He actually managed to get on base in the 8th inning of that contest, right at the very tail end.
Jacobs looking good early. 1-2 to Cam Smith. It's a piece of the fastball at 93. Boy, you think Jacobs is fired up?
Well, he should
to face Florida State today?
I mean, he was once a Nole. He wore the garnet and gold. I mean, there's always a little bit of an extra oomph when you're facing a team that you used to be a part of. I mean, that's just human nature. It's how it works.
Another 1-2 to Smith. Struck him out with a curveball. Jacobs with back-to-back Ks. And Cam Smith strikes out. 2 away.
He's got that heavy heater, right? But if Gillen can consistently develop a second or third pitch like that, that young man could have a very bright future in this baseball game, Evan.
So here comes one of the best hitters in college baseball, James Tibbs III.
I mean, there's a reason FSU is 37-12 entering tonight. They got a lot of good hitters, but there's no doubt.
None better than this one.
Yeah.
385, 21 home runs, and that curveball sails high. Tibbs is not considered much of a defensive prospect. The hope for him in the pro level is that he'll be able to stand in a corner. Everything for him is going to be based on his bat, and that is a terrific bat. He's projected as a late first, early second round pick at the moment. Well, 6', 204 out of Marietta, Georgia.
Well, fortunately for him, DH is still very much a thing in pro baseball. He may end up being one of those professional hitter types.
2-0, just off the plate. And Tibbs ahead 3-0. Tibbs has only struck out 21 times. Less than 10% of his plate appearances. That high power, high contact rate is very rare, and that's why he's going to be so desirable, even without a real position. He hits this one in the air to center field. That should stay in the yard. Evan Griffiths to the track, makes the catch, and that retires the...
Green and white, he is now dealing with a hamstring issue, so he will be on the shelf for a little bit, as is his brother Jaden.
Griffiths in left field. Been on a tear with the bat anyway. You probably would have wanted to give him a shot regardless. And Daniel Labrador is the DH tonight for Brandon, hit a couple of home runs on Sunday. So flare out to left field off the inside of the bat. Sauser jamming Jones, and Jordan Williams makes the catch in left field for the first out. Defensively for Florida State, Jackson West behind the plate. Infield left to right is Cam Smith, Alex Lodis, Drew Furrow, and Daniel Cantu. Jordan Williams, Max Williams, and then Tibbs III left to right in the outfield. Dingus is the DH tonight. Isaiah Barquette takes a breaking ball for strike. Barquette at 296 has been a consistent presence, 412 OBP. Top 5 hitters in the Hatter order have a 400+ on-base percentage, and nobody is lower than 379. This team prides itself on getting on base, passing the bats, and just wearing down opposition pitching.
That's how they won 2 out of 3 against Queens over the weekend.
Line shot, base hit, and Barquette is the first base runner of the game with his 46th hit of the year in 40 games.
And a guy who's really found a home at Stetson, especially once he came back from that hand injury midway through the season. And that's how he does it, just poking stuff into the outfield. He can cause a little trouble on the bases too, and we didn't see Stetson do a whole lot of the speed thing in their weekend series win over Queens, Evan, but that is a very critical part of their offensive game, and with a huge hole between first and second, we might see Isaiah make a little run here.
Logan Hughes takes up and in. It bounces off of West's glove, and the pass ball will allow Barquette to move up. Now, Jackson West, who has split time at catcher this year for Florida State, making a little bit of a meal of that one, and the Hatters will take the extra base gladly.
Officially ruled a wild pitch.
McGuire, Holbrook, and West have done the lion's share of the catching. Kind of a 1A, 1B situation. Was that ruled a wild pitch?
It was, actually.
That's ridiculous.
Yep, that is the official ruling from the score.
Well, okay then. 1-1 to Logan Hughes, who's had a great freshman year, hitting .306 with 6 home runs. 927 OPS. Takes up and away from Sauser. It's 2-1.
I mean, I definitely don't blame you for thinking that was a pass ball. It hit the glove.
It was a pass ball.
I mean, it hit the glove. Normally, you would call that a pass ball.
It was not wild in any way. It was just high. Here's a 2-1 to Hughes. And Sauser misses inside. 3 balls and a strike to Logan from the Florida State right-hander.
And Logan, by the way, he's been one of the hotter Hatters lately over the last 10, batting .324, 1 homer, 6 RBIs. He's also drawn 10 walks in that time frame, Evan.
That pitch is grounded down to second. That'll move the runner over. Without the wild pitch, pass ball, what have you, it would have been a double play. Instead, it's a 4-3 for the second out as Barquette goes over to third. So the inning will continue for Gio Cueto, the Stetson catcher. Not a traditional 4-hitter. He does not hit for a lot of power. In fact, most of the power hitting in this lineup is near the bottom of the order.
Indeed, Labrador and Desero, the big ones.
But Cueto can certainly hit. He's batting .302. He's seen plenty of Florida State in his career. Transfer from Wake Forest. Takes up and in from the freshman.
And really has settled in nicely, filling in for the departed Christian Pregent, filling some huge shoes for the Hatters. He's been everything Stetson could have hoped for and then some, including with the stick.
1-0. And that's inside as well. 2 balls and no strikes.
I mean, the only thing he really hasn't matched Christian in is in the power numbers, but that wasn't really what they were hoping to get out of Gio necessarily. They were looking for a more consistent bat, a guy who could drive in runs when needed. He's done that.
2-0 from Sauser. Breaking ball, catches the plate for strike 1. Sauser's older brother, Jack, was a baseball player at Northwestern. Matt the second Sauser to play at the D1 level in a power conference, no less. He misses outside 3-1. Also played basketball and soccer as a 3-sport athlete in high school. We don't see that as often anymore. His last outing was against an ASUN team. He went 2 innings against UNF back on April the 23rd. 3 weeks ago, gave up a run on 2 hits. He gets a strike across the letters to Cueto. It took Kevin Flay a beat there to call that strike 2, but it will be a full count with Barquette on third and 2 out. Hatters looking to do what they couldn't do a couple of months ago against the Noles and score a run. Payoff pitch, outside ball 4, and that'll bring Landon Moran up to the plate with runners on the corners.
Nice take there from Gio to make it ball 4. We mentioned earlier about FSU not having lost a game to a Florida team all year, Evan. That includes in the ASUN, there were 6-0 against teams in the conference, and that includes all the Florida schools. They've beaten Jacksonville 3 times, actually, and then singles against Stetson, UNF, and Florida Gulf Coast was the other one.
I think it's really great that Link Jarrett has continued Mike Martin's tradition of playing the smaller schools within the state of Florida. Florida State has always been great about coming to other teams.
Indeed.
This is an annual game here, usually right at the end of the regular season at 5 o'clock here in DeLand. And Stetson will make the trip up to Tallahassee. No 2-for-1s required. It's a a 1-1 split.
Yeah.
Moran hitting .284, .441 on base percentage.
And by the way, maybe the hottest Hatter the Hatters have had over the last 10 games at the stick, Evan. .350 over his last 10 games, 1 homer, 9 RBIs. He's basically hit .500. Not only last weekend against Queens, but in the weekend prior against Austin Peay. He's heating up at the right time.
He had a game against Bethune-Cookman, too. His last time out at home last Tuesday, where he hit 3 flyouts to the track. 1-1. Even his outs have been loud. He takes in and tight from Sauser. It's 2-1.
You know, as we've seen Landon develop in his college career, we've seen a lot of times this year, Evan, where he's had a lot of loud outs deep into the outfield. I suspect next year, with an extra year in the gym, those might be home runs instead of outs.
Hit those weights. That 2-1 is hit sky high to right field. Deep, but not deep enough, as Tibbs the third takes a little bit of a circuitous route, but makes the catch.
RPI, a big factor for the Hatters.
Jacob facing Dinges. First pitch grounded to second. Johan Desiro is there. 1 pitch, 1 out for Jacobs here in the second. Yeah, kind of break that down a little bit for you. The regular season champion in the A-Sun, and right now there are 6 teams going into the final weekend that still have a chance. Stetson is one of them, but Austin Peay is currently a game ahead of pretty much everybody else in first place.
They're definitely in the driver's seat.
Yeah, they have a lot of tiebreakers going their way as well. Regardless, the winner of the league will be in Pool A. The way the A-Sun tournament works, it's not a single elimination or you know, bracket like anything like that. It's group play. Think soccer, where you're in a group and you play everybody once.
Round robin, essentially.
Right. And so Pool A is the regular season champion and the next 3 best teams in the RPI. Right now, Stetson is the 2nd best RPI in the Atlantic Sun, but Austin Peay and Florida Gulf Coast are not too far behind them, about 25 and 30 spots respectively. A win over the number 8 team in the RPI, Florida State, would all but assure that Stetson is in that Pool A. This ball off the bat of Cantu is foul, and it'll be 1-2 to the slugging first baseman.
And then notably, the consequences, if you're not in Pool A, then what happens? You're in Pool B. And if you're in Pool B, it's an NCAA regional style format, double elimination, a much harder tournament. Road to the Hugh to get to the semifinals.
Right, and in Pool A, all you got to do is basically win 1 game, and you're okay. In Pool B, you got to keep winning. Only 1 team is going to survive, and then you still got to play probably the best team in the league in the semifinal because you play the Pool A winner. So it is a brutal path, as Stetson saw last year when they finished in 2nd place in the A-Sun, but got placed in Pool B because of their RPI and ended up getting knocked out on a tiebreaker. And they do not want that to happen again. They played a much harder non-conference schedule this year. They have mostly assured themselves of a spot in Pool A, but a win tonight would make things sleep much easier over the next few days. They've got Central Arkansas here at home, a team that is going to be fighting for their tournament lives. They are one of the 2 teams that has not clinched yet, but is in a spot to get in and be in Pool B.
Yeah, them, Eastern Kentucky, North Florida. It's going to be some combination of them that makes the final 2 spots.
Hot shot up the middle. Lorenzo Miola diving stop. Had trouble getting it out of his glove, and Cantu beats the throw. It's a heck of a play by Miola to get there, but the transfer kind of caught up to him, and Cantu beats it out by a step.
Yep, and he'll be officially awarded a single there. That was a well-hit ball. Nice defensive position from Miola. They definitely had Cantu scouted properly. Just the transfer got him.
Yeah, if he gets that ball out of his glove cleanly, I think he makes a real web gem there. Instead, Cantu is in with an infield hit, the first hit for Florida State today. Here's Lodi's.
First Seminole to even reach, actually.
Slider in for a strike. Lodi's at .283, 6 home runs. He's been the everyday shortstop. Very young Florida State team, too. Cantu is the only senior in this order, and there are 6 sophomores, including the draft-eligible Cam Smith in the 2-hole.
Yep, and Lodi's one of them. Former North Florida Osprey, had a great start to his college career up in Jacksonville, and then makes the move west on I-10 to Tallahassee.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you get a guy having too good a year at that level, they're going to be at risk to make the jump up. There's a pop-up off the bat of Lodi's. Shallow right field. Long run in for Logan Hughes, but he's under it. Makes the catch for the second out. That happened to Stetson basketball this year. They won the Atlantic Sun and went to the NCAA tournament for the very first time. Their best player, Jalen Blackman, is going to play for the Miami Hurricanes.
It wasn't just Jalen.
Well, their entire starting five.
Their vultures were circling. Yeah, I mean,
but
Stephon Swenson now at UC Santa Barbara. I think Aubin Gadaretzi went to Utah State.
Yep.
I mean, that roster got picked clean. Donnie Jones is going to have a lot of work to do to refill that roster.
Here's Fourreau, who swings and misses. And a nasty low breaking ball. It's 0-1. Jacobs locked in here in the top of the second.
Yeah, he's looked solid so far. Again, we're not expecting him to go really long today. Coach Tripper telling me prior to the game that they want to use a few arms out of the pen, try to share the load.
I'll tell you what, though, if he looks this good, you maybe let it ride a little bit, and there's no bodies at all out in the Stetson bullpen right now.
Yeah, that's true.
And we've seen Steve Tripper be adaptable to how his pitchers are doing. 0-2. Tried it again. The ball gets away from Cueto. That will be a wild pitch as Cantu moves up to second base.
It is, but I don't know that we're going to see him go too deviating too much from the plan.
7 innings or anything, but
the factor is that your first game of the weekend's on Thursday, not Friday.
Right.
So that's a shortened, compressed time frame. Then on top of that, you're only going to have at most 48 hours between your last game on Saturday and your first game in the tournament on Tuesday. So you want to keep your best pitchers healthy for the long haul, and Jacobs is certainly going to be a guy the Hatters are going to rely on in the tournament.
1-2 just outside. There was some good news. I literally just opened my computer to the news that Abramo Conca, Wake Forest transfer, just signed for Stetson basketball.
Now that's a big get for Donnie Jones.
UCLA his freshman year, Wake Forest last year, and now Stetson is a junior. And 3 strikeouts for Florida State.
He has tons of experience, and he just wants them to have a strong presence at the plate. He says any college coach can go out and teach hitting, but it's about building confidence players, especially in a sport like this where there can be so much failure. Back to you guys.
Yeah, even the best guys fail, well, I'd say about half the time in college baseball. I'll tell Charlie Condon that he fails 7 out of 10 times. But yeah, this is a lineup that has had plenty of reasons to be confident lately. They certainly have their own identity, and it's led them to a lot of success this year. Lorenzo Miola having an excellent season, 286, 4 home runs, 45 RBI. That leads the team, and he's ahead 3-0 here on Sauser, who's having a little trouble locating here to start the second. It's that fastball over at 88 for strike 1.
The Hatters have definitely evolved compared to last year, Evan. They were much more of a long ball team last year, but this year I feel like their offense is more consistent. They've been able to score more often.
Miola hits this one out towards pretty deep left field. That is back, and he's gone! Lorenzo Miola takes Matt Sauser deep, and the Hatters strike first against Florida State.
Lorenzo's second homer in 10 games. And his 5th of the season, Evan. And for the first time all year, the Hats are in front of the Knolls. Look at this pitch. Dead black. Lorenzo getting stronger every day, and clearly good enough to put one over the fence like that. And speaking of guys who can put one over the fence, he only did it twice against Queens on Sunday.
Yeah, Daniel Labrador hit a 3-run homer in the 9th inning, his second of the day. That was, at the time, looked like it was going to be yet another Stetson comeback win. They have come from behind so often to win this year. They were down 9-3 in the 9th inning.
Labrador called time just before the pitch.
That pitch will not count. They went up 10-9 after Labrador's home run, but then gave up a walk-off in the bottom of the 9th and lost in the final game of the series. 1-1, that's popped up. Shallow left towards the line. Jordan Williams makes the call and the catch for the first out.
Batting 8th, the second baseman, number 7, Johan Des.
Here's Johan Desiro, who's had a terrific year. Batting .305 with a team-high 9 home runs. Yeah, no Hatter has double-digit homers this year. They do not hit for a whole lot of power, making that Miola shot an even bigger deal. But they are a team that gets on base at a very high clip, and Desiro has been all reliable in the 8-hole. We talk about it every game, it seems like, how you feel like you could move him up, but he's just so good down there. There's no reason to mess with what's working as he gets ahead 2-0.
Yeah, Johan has definitely hit a bit of a rough pump lately, though, Evan, over his last 10, batting only 143, but I suspect you'll see him heating up going into this weekend. He's a bat the Hatters are going to need if they're going to win the ASUN.
No doubt. Stetson this year, you look at their home runs, they're 6th in the ASUN. That was only their 48th homer of the year, but they're 2nd in the league in on-base percentage and in the top 70 in the country.
They're just more consistent offensively. That's the thing. Even though last year they hit a lot more home runs, they were also prone to droughts at times where they just weren't scoring.
Desero hits this one to deep right field. Tibbs is going to watch it fly. Johan Desero cracks double digits. It's the 2nd Hatter homer of the inning. 2-0 Stetson as Miola and Desero both go long in the 2nd inning.
Lorenzo Miola, he's got good power. Johan Desero might be one of the top 5 on the roster in terms of just sheer raw power. When he gets a hold of one, it is usually in lunar orbit.
Hanging breaking ball.
And that one, forget it. I mean, that's how Johan hits them. When he gets a hold of one, that sucker's in the next county. Great shot.
Hadn't hit a ton of them at home this year.
It's been a while since he's hit one at home, actually. As a matter of fact, I think the last time he hit one at home was probably March.
It's been a road show for the most part, but that is absolutely towering.
Coast where at one point, Evan, he retired 15 straight Eagles in a game that the Noles ended up winning by 16 runs.
He has just moved to the pen. He missed about a month. His last start was against BC. This ball hit out towards pretty deep left field by Evan Griffiths. That's the 3rd Stetson home run of the inning. The first pitch from Whitaker, and Evan Griffiths goes back-to-back with Desero. It's 3-0.
And that is the first time all year, Evan, that the Hatters have hit 3 homers in an inning. And it's the bottom of the order that does the damage for the Stetson Hatters. That is where most of the power resides, between Labrador, Desero, Griffiths, and Lorenzo Miola. Griffiths, he's had his ups and downs this year, but he had a pretty good series against Queens. He's been heating up, Evan. And as you saw that time, clearly has all the power. In the last 5 games for Griffiths, batting over 700, not including that bomb you just saw.
Whitaker throws a strike by Kyle Jones, 0-1. It's his 5th home run of the year for Griffiths. Really, it's his 6th home run. There was a major controversy over the weekend against Queens. Griffiths hit a homer, but was ruled not to have touched home plate. Video evidence showed that he did, but there was no replay available at Queens. And now Jones hits one out towards left field. Williams going back to the track. It's 3 in a row. Kyle Jones joins the home run parade. They're marching around the base paths at the MAC.
And that is the first time this year we've seen back-to-back-to-back jacks. It's been a while, I think, since that's happened at Stetson. We'll have to look it up. But boy, Kyle Jones, a guy who's not shown a lot of power this year, Evan, but he is a player that the Hatters project will be a power hitter before he's done in DeLand.
His first time. Miola homer to start the inning, then a pop out by Daniel Labrador, and after that, 3 straight home runs. Barquette takes inside, it's 2-0.
Shane Gerke should be proud. He is the main Hatter coach who works with the hitters. That's his thing. So not surprised to see him crack a little smile.
2-0 and Barquette takes a strike. Jones only had 2 home runs all season. That was his 3rd of the year. Barquette has 1 home run, but I'm not ruling anything out right now. 2-1, he cracks it to short. Great diving catch by Lodi's to record the 2nd out. Maybe that'll pick up the Noles here. A great defensive play by their talented shortstop.
Well, an out is an out, but as a coach, you always like it when the out is a hard out, because at least it shows you that your batter is kind of locked in. That was a well-struck ball from Isaiah. Really would have been a hit had it not been hit right to a Nole.
Logan Hughes fouls the first pitch off towards the parking lot, 0-1.
And speaking of power, Evan, Logan Hughes, He's shown a ton of it this year, but he has yet to hit one at Melching this year. He's not done it.
All 6 of his home runs on the road. Melching Field is a pitcher's park. It used to be an extreme pitcher's park, one of the worst in the country for offense. The fences were moved in last year as part of an $8 million renovation to the building that has also seen it awarded back-to-back ASUN tournament hosting opportunities. And that helped the Hatters hit a program record amount of home runs last year. This year, this team is built more around getting on base and passing the bats than the power, but now up to 51 home runs on the year.
They hit 81 a year ago.
Yeah, after the 4 in this inning. 0-2 to Logan. And Hughes takes inside for ball 1, and Florida State fans thought that was strike 3.
I just find it interesting that Logan hasn't hit a home run at the MAC yet. I mean, he's seen a lot of playing time. He is the hometown boy, so you know there's going to be a lot of friends and family here to cheer him on once he does it, and I'm sure he will at some point. But boy, wouldn't it be crazy to see that now, considering the inning we've seen so far?
It has been something else. 4 home runs in the inning, including 3 in a row by Desero, Griffiths, and Jones.
I guess the only positive for FSU is that at least they were all solo shots.
2-2. That ball ripped but foul out towards the Hatter hangout in the first base line.
And it should be noted, it seems like when you get big crowds here at Melching Field, these Hatters respond. We saw it against Florida earlier in the year.
2-2. Line shot caught by Cam Smith, who didn't have to move an inch. Back-to-back lineouts. Almost everything in the inning hit hard by the Williams. Due up for the Noles here in the top of the 3rd. West hitting .290 as the primary catcher for Link Jarrett. He takes low and away for ball 1. 430 OBP. 21 walks, just 14 strikeouts. 1-0. That's down, 2 balls and no strikes. No bodies at all in the Hatter bullpen. We thought this might be a short outing for Jacobs, but he's looked so good. Seems like Stetson wants to get a little bit of length out of him. But he's behind 3-0 here on West. Jacobs' big problem at Florida State was that he couldn't be relied on to throw strikes. He saw barely any action because of it. Came to Stetson, kind of broke down his motion a little bit with Daniel Latham. He's been much better in that realm. But a 4-pitch walk to start the inning is 18th walk in 41 2/3 innings this year. That's a very good rate for a college pitcher, but
that's also where he's run into trouble in the past, Evan. Walks have been, in many ways, when Dylan Jacobs has unraveled, so he's got to be a little bit cognizant of that. And yeah, you know, 4 home runs in an inning, that's all great, but this FSU team started off the year 19-0 for a reason. They're pretty good. So by no means can Stetson afford to rest on their laurels a little bit here. FSU certainly has all the motivation to come out of this one with a win. It would ensure that they beat every Florida team they face this year, and also give them a nice little springboard into a critical conference weekend of their own against Georgia Tech. FSU looking to put themselves back on the ACC, especially after a very tough road last year where they ended up dead last and missed the conference tournament for the first time
shocking
ever.
Season from Florida State last year. It was their first losing season ever. The first time they missed the NCAA tournament in a year when it was played since 1977. 1-1 from Jacobs to Jordan Williams, who calls for time. And now Link Jarrett is going to have a conversation with the home plate umpire, Kevin Flay. Doesn't seem particularly happy.
Yeah, he definitely saw something that kind of triggered him a little bit. And speaking of that, we're going to see some action in the bullpen now for Stetson, Evan. Ty Van Dyke, Brendan Walker are both going out there. We just saw them pop up right now, so.
They have just arrived in the Cruz family bullpen out there in right center. It's 1-1 to Jordan Williams. It's just his 3rd start of the year. He's only in 15 at-bats. He's 6 out of 15. His primary usage has been as a pinch runner and defensive replacement. He has 14 stolen bases on the season.
Yeah, he's the only Nole who's actually over double digits in stolen bases. He's got a lot of speed.
1-1 way inside as Jacobs has only thrown 1 strike through 7 pitches. Two-one. Upstairs, ball 3. And now Gio Cueto wants to settle down Dylan Jacobs and maybe buy a little time for his compatriots to get loose in the Stetson bullpen.
We were expecting the Hatters to hit their pen sooner rather than later. Maybe a little bit sooner than they would have liked. I think ideally they would like Dylan to get through the order at least once, which essentially he's done that. If you can get 3 innings out of him here, though, I think that's more or less what Stetson would have wanted at the beginning of this game. And that's Brendan Walker.
Line shot, caught, double play. Well, whatever Gio Cueto said, it worked. Williams lines to second. Poor read by West, he's doubled off.
And really, that's just a well-hit ball, but right at a Hatter. I mean,
it's
that's
hard to blame Jackson West for that one, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you know, you got to be cognizant of the double play there, but usually as a runner, the double play you're worried about is at second base, not off of first like that.
So everything going wrong for Florida State here early. Here's Max Williams, who struck out his first time. He takes down for ball 1. Jacobs, who was in a spot of bother there, is suddenly looking at a clean inning. 1-0. And now behind again, 2-0 to Max Williams. Jacobs trying to post another short inning here for his offense, but another 3-0 count.
Yeah, as of right now, Evan, he's only faced 1 above the minimum. With a pretty dangerous Knowles lineup, that's not too bad. I mean, this very same team threw up 8 in an inning against Pittsburgh over the weekend.
A 4-pitch walk. Second of the inning by Jacobs. And you're right, this Florida State offense is no joke. They are one of the best in the country. For the season, they rank 11th in the nation in slugging percentage.
That's Steve Trimper walking out there.
26th in home runs. Yeah, Steve Trimper almost never makes mound visits. It would be Daniel Latham almost always, who comes out and either makes a mound visit or makes a pitching change. I'm not sure I can recall. Now, I haven't called every game, but I can't recall a time this year that I've seen Steve Trimper go out to the mound in person.
He does this about once a year, more or less. I mean, usually when he does it, though, it's almost always a mental reset, pep talk to the troops type of thing. This isn't strategy. If this was strategy, it would have been Latham.
That seems to be what the purpose was there for Steve Trimper, trying to get Dylan Jacobs through this 3rd inning. His team's got a 4-0 lead over Florida State. Not many teams find themselves in this spot. And here is Cam Smith, one of the best hitters in college baseball. Jacobs got him last time with a strikeout, but he can make this a very different ball game real quick. First pitch is in the dirt for ball 1. Jacobs has now thrown 13 pitches in this inning. 11 of them have been out of the strike zone. 1-0, and that's not even close.
I like that he used the breaker, though. Keep in mind, when he punched out Smith, it was on that breaking pitch to the outside. If he can, that's something I'm sure Cam Smith is going to keep in mind here, to be on the lookout for that breaker, and that might be enough for Dylan to really get him with the fastball.
There's a fastball right down the middle, took a little off it, and gets a strike.
And I think one of the reasons you really saw Coach Trimper go out there, Evan, is he knows off of an inning that the Hatters just had, you don't want to give the momentum back to Florida State.
Oh, close call, but it's ball 3. Yeah, I think a walk here might be it for Jacobs if he can't finagle his way out of this. Got the line-out double play to erase the first one, then the walk to Williams. 3-1, Smith swings and fouls it off. High and out of play down the right side. We get a full count, and that'll put Williams in motion with 2 out.
So if he makes the move, Evan, it looks like it'll be Brendan Walker for sure. Van Dyke's out there, but not really throwing right now.
Pitch is bounced towards 3rd. Long run in for Barquette. He fakes the throw and goes to this rundown between 2nd and 3rd. What a play by Barquette. Williams is out. The inning is over.
That was heads up. Incredible heads up play.
Kind of a hidden ball out of baseball, but that was something else. We've had a few of that surprises in this game already. Stetson hitting 4 home runs in the bottom of the 2nd, 3 of them back to back to back. It'll be Cueto, Moran, and Miola to face Yoel Tejeda, the third Knoll pitcher of the game. Tejeda, 15 innings this year. He's managed to keep his ERA reasonable at 4.80, but he's walked 13 in 15 innings with 16 hits allowed.
He's another guy who's very well regarded in terms of the scouting. Evan, D1 Baseball having him on in their top 150 in terms of MLB draft prospects at the collegiate level. There's a lot of Knolls who can say that, actually. Definitely has a big frame too, 6'8", 210, and you can see it on the mound.
Spins one in at 96 outside for ball one. Yeah, when he figures out where it's going, he's going to be a real talented, a real top prospect. Tejeda, a sophomore out of Davie, is a transfer from UF. Now 2-1 to Gio Cueto, who walked his first time. 97, just below the knees. You're not going to see a whole lot of velo like this in the ASUN tournament.
Well, unless maybe you're playing Austin P.
Tejeda was actually drafted as a high schooler in the 19th round by the Pittsburgh Pirates, opted to go to school. There's a fly ball out to center. That is an easy play for Max Williams, and there's one out here to start the third. Tejeda last year, a 5.56 ERA. Didn't strike out a whole lot of batters at Florida. His strikeout rate has improved dramatically here at FSU. He's coming off a terrific outing when he went 2 1/3 on Sunday and allowed just one hit in the series clincher against Pittsburgh, or rather the one where they salvaged the last game of that series.
Yep, FSU run ruling the Panthers in 8.
19 pitches for Tejeda to get 7 outs and just 1 walk. That's more of what they want to see, and he's ahead of Landon Moran here. Flew to right his last time.
Definitely kind of an odd series for FSU against Pittsburgh over the weekend.
Moran takes 98 miles an hour foul down the left field line, 0-2.
I mean, probably the oddest part was the Friday night game itself, where Jamie Arnold, who's one of the best pitchers in the country, goes and punches out 17 Panthers. If 24 batters faced, yet FSU lost 1-0.
Jamie Arnold, another sophomore, who is not draft eligible. They're going to have him back next year, unless he transfers, which would seem to be unlikely with the success he's having. And he will project as a potential first-round pick next year. 96 from Tejeda outside, 2-2.
Yeah, I mean, he's been far and away not only FSU's best pitcher this season, but one of the best in the ACC. He's been a real big reason why the Knolls have had the success they've had this year.
2-2 from Tejeda is inside. Moran has worked the count full from 0-2.
And a huge jump, too, from Arnold, considering last year, Evan, he was 2-5 with an ERA over 6. And this year, much different story. He's 8-3 with an ERA just over 2.
Line shot right field. Tibbs is there to make the catch. And Moran hit it hard, but right at James Tibbs III, and there's 2 out.
2 loud outs for Landon again in this game. Maybe regressing to the mean a little bit, considering the success he's had over the last 2 weekend series against Queens and also Austin P. But Moran, like a few of the Hatters right now, seem to be heating up at the right time. Miola, another guy.
That one bounced to Miola, who hit the first of 4 Stetson home runs in the bottom of the second.
Very first pitch he saw in that inning.
His 5th home run of the year. His last homer was in the Friday night opener against Austin P when Stetson overcame a 5-run deficit. Pops this one up, though. Out towards left field. Jordan Williams gets under it. Takes a long time to come down. Williams makes the catch. Being here today would give them a much larger margin for error. And not only that, I think it would build a lot of confidence. You know, Steve Trimper told Madison at the start of the game, they've beaten UF, they've beaten UCF. They want to show all of the power teams in Florida that they are right there with them. And a win over Florida State would essentially complete that sweep for them this year.
Indeed. James Tibbs III, Marco Dingus, Daniel Cantu all due up here for FSU. A Seminoles team that got off to about as hot a start as you could imagine at the beginning of the year. 19-0. They have been perfect against in-state teams this year. 14-0. As Tibbs hits that hard in the center. Jones to the track, to the wall. That is gone. Into the road pen. And the Noles have struck. James Tibbs with his 22nd long ball of the year. And the 4-run lead is now a little bit shorter. It's 4-1 Stetson.
Yeah, this guy has major league caliber raw power. He's projected as a top 50 pick for a reason. You just cannot leave one over the plate like that to him. He's going to make you pay. Deepest part of the yard, and that was not even in doubt when he hit it off the bat. James Tibbs III is a special, special hitter.
Didn't just fouls that pitch off. Yeah, you can kind of see why, right? There's a reason he has over 20 bombs on the year. Now RBI number 75. And actually, just to kind of mention this, since you brought it up earlier, Evan, he now officially has more homers on the year than strikeouts. He has 21 strikeouts entering today. That was his 22nd homer. Marco Dingus, he may not be putting up Tibbs' numbers, but he's not been too bad in his own right. Over 300 batting average entering this one. 12 home runs, 54 RBIs, and 12 homers, tied for third on the team alongside Cam Smith. The 2-1, and Dingus backing off there. Count now 3-1 for the sophomore, who hails from Beekman, New York, transferring to the Noles from nearby Tallahassee Community College. That's in for the strike, full count. And since I don't know my New York geography, Evan, and you do, where is Beekman? Do you know?
I don't know New York nearly as well as I know New Jersey. You're already outside my comfort zone.
The full count is smashed between short and third for a base hit. Lorenzo Miola with the valiant dive, but just out of his reach. And the first two Noles have gotten on here. Back-to-back hits. First time all game we've seen Link Jarrett's club do that. And Daniel Cantu will step in.
Yeah, this is, I thought it was a little risky to leave Jacobs out for the fourth inning after his command kind of got away from him in the third. He's throwing strikes, but he's now finding too much plate. See how much runway he gets here as the Hatters have their bullpen up. Is that Walker who's out there tossing? So.
Yeah, Walker's who it should be. That's who I saw last time. Yep, that is Walker. And to answer my own question, Evan, Beekman is actually near the Connecticut state line.
Okay.
Just above New York City, popped up foul territory, third base side, and Isaiah Barquette with a terrific over-the-shoulder grab. He's just whipping up all the defensive gems today, Evan. And that's the first out of the inning.
Boy, that's a hard one to read at this time of day. The sun's on that side, and he somehow found it. Did a good job calling for the ball, tracked it the whole way. Well done. Great play.
Fortunately for him, he wouldn't be staring directly into the sun from that angle.
But look how
far that's still a really tough play.
Look how far up the line he was.
Yeah, he was. He was really out there. He's got a lot of range. I mean, you know, we've not seen it a lot this year. He's primarily been the third baseman, one in the lineup, but the one game that we saw Lorenzo Miola could not play, they moved Barquette over the short, and there's a reason why they did that. He's got a lot of defensive range. Lodi's hits that in the center, right in front of the Cruz family pen. Jones is there. Second out of the inning. And the former North Florida Osprey will have to trot back to the dugout. Drew Farrow now up.
They gave that a ride, but not quite enough to get out of this ballpark. It's bigger than most college fields. There are some places in the ACC and in the ASUN where that would have been a home run. Not Melching Field.
No, that's for sure. Drew Farrow for 1 on the day. Cade on a 2-2 count in the second inning. One of 3 punch-outs so far in this game for Dylan Jacobs, as he's already worked through 3 2/3. Marco Dingus with a short lead at first. Big cut right there from Farrow. Now down 0-2. Farrow, a sophomore, hometown boy from Tallahassee, Florida. Went to UCF initially and then made his way back home to play for the hometown Noles. Hits that one right to Dylan Jacobs. Underhand scoop, side retired.
Well done to get out of that inning. Well done, Dylan Jacobs.
It was well done. As a matter of fact, the home team in this series has usually been the one that comes away with the W, as Labrador strokes that foul right in front of the fence that separates Hatter Hangout from the field. The last time the road team has won in this series came in 2017 right here at Melching Field, FSU with an 11-5 win that year.
I think I called that game, actually.
That would have been your, I think, your first or second year here, no?
Yeah, it would have been, well, my first year doing baseball, yeah.
Yeah.
How time flies, right?
Yeah.
I got a lot less hair now. I didn't have a lot then anyway, but even less now.
A couple of years after that, Stetson had that no-hit victory over the Noles here in DeLand, a 1-0 score. The first time that FSU had been no-hit since 1993. Also happened to be the final year of the Mike Martin era. And one of the pitchers for Stetson in that no-no is still on the roster, Evan. Daniel Perrette was part of that. As that one plunks Labrador, and for the second time this game, the leadoff hitter gets on board for Stetson, and that'll break up Johan Desero.
Yeah, that's not a pitch I'd want to get hit by. How hard he throws. Daniel, to his credit, kind of shrugged it off and has a smile on his face, so he's a tough guy. Catchers are built a little bit different.
That's for sure. Although Labrador more often than not a DH, but catcher is the position he plays when he plays defensively. He's seen a little bit more time recently behind the dish. Hatter coach is trying to give Gio Cueto a bit of a breather every now and again. But expect to see Labrador a lot in the DH spot with the hamstring issues plaguing Brandon Hilton right now, as that one in for the strike from Kevin Flay, the home plate ump. 1-1. Desero with maybe the loudest of the 4 home runs that were hit in the second inning for Stetson. Definitely 400 plus, maybe more like 425. That one hit hard as well. Past the second baseman for a base hit. Not much Drew Farrell could do there. Labrador moves up 90 feet. And with 2 runners on board here, up comes Evan Griffiths.
Important for Stetson to keep pushing here. Your 3-run lead is not safe. Good piece of hitting by Johan. That's not a bad pitch. Knee-high, outside corner. He goes down and turns on it, showing that great bat speed that got him the home run in the second inning. Good stuff there from Desero, and now the Hatters are poised to strike.
Indeed, and that's got to be something that'll make the Hatter coaches very happy. We're going to see the infield come in here for FSU. Corner infielders Cantu and Smith inside the grass. Looks like Griffiths is thinking butt. That pitch in for the strike, the throw to second to make sure Labrador stays in place. Makes it an 0-1 count now on Evan Griffiths.
Sahid is a hard pitcher to bunt against because not only does he throw with so much velocity, but that weird arm slot, very deceptive. That 6'8" frame.
Yeah, the height definitely makes a difference. Griffiths, of course, was part of that home run parade in the second inning. Goes swinging here, slashes that foul off the wall separating the Hatter Hangout from the field. And
so no bunt on 0-1. He felt more comfortable swinging away.
Well, considering that home run he hit in the second inning, you can understand why. And he'll have no choice but to swing here on an 0-2 count. Shorten second base in their normal slots. Cam Smith, he's backing up a little now that the bunt threat is likely gone. Griffiths in defense mode, lays off that one. 1-2 to count. Hatters looking to get the victory over Florida State. Give them a win against every Florida team they faced this year. FSU has yet to lose to a Sunshine State team all season long, 14-0. That one missing. Some of the Knoll fans thought otherwise. 2-2 to count. And that 14-0 record against in-state competition, pretty impressive, Evan, when you consider 3 of those games were against Florida and another 3 were against Miami. Only the second time ever that the Noles have swept both the Hurricanes and the Gators in a single season.
That's amazing.
The 2-2. That one fouled.
We know how competitive those rivalries are, and especially, I mean, FSU Florida, it has a lot of vitriol to it, and FSU Miami is a conference rivalry, so they play each other all the time.
Yeah. And the Florida
we've got it really good down here. We got, you know, college football rivalries within those schools, but it's not just football and basketball. We got baseball too.
Oh yeah, for sure. and FSU and Florida are usually among the top. The 2-2 misses high.
Yeah, UF has had a really disappointing season. They're about 500, worse than that in the SEC. They're not sure if they're going to be in the tournament. They're RPI 29, so they'll probably make it, but they're not going to host or anything like that. It'll be interesting to see where they land.
And I think it's fair to say Sully's team probably needs to go on a pretty good run.
Yeah, Miami has had a brutal year. They're not going to make the tournament unless they somehow win the ACC.
Full count here with runners at first and second. And Griffiths hits that into left field. The Williams on the run. It'll be Jordan in left who makes the catch.
The Williams is?
Well, there's Max in center and Jordan in left.
There are. A lot of speed out there between those two. Griffiths kind of got jammed a little bit on that one. Big
degree from Florida State back in 2011. And Tejeda fires outside to Kyle Jones. So we've got Daniel Labrador at second, Johan Deserol at first.
I didn't realize how recently Buster Posey had retired. He won't go into the Hall of Fame until 2027. He's first eligible. Be very surprised if he doesn't get in on the first ballot, especially after Joe Maurer, a very similar player from the same era, was able to do that.
Posey with more rings, though. I think he had, what, 3?
Well, that tends not to be much of a consideration for the Baseball Hall of Fame, but it certainly doesn't hurt. He did have 3 in 5 years.
The 1-1. Weak swing from Kyle Jones. Clearly fooled, but couldn't hold back. 1-2.
Pitch. Yeah, Tejeda, I think, is a project, and he's already almost 21 years old, but he's got such a package of enticing traits with that size and length and that velocity. Pitching coach's dream.
The 1-2 is fouled away by Jones, lives to see another pitch. I don't think age is nearly much a factor for pro scouts when you can light up 96, 97 on the gun on a regular basis. They don't care.
Does it?
They don't care how old you are at that point. I mean, stuff is stuff, right? Kyle Jones 1 for 2 on the day, solo homer in the second. What a 4 in that inning for Stetson. Been a long, long time since the Hatters have hit 4 homers in an inning. I don't believe they've done it this year or last year. We'll try to get that stat for you if we can, as Jones once again fouling this off. And we've got a little bit of a battle brewing here, Evan. 2-2 to count still, as Jones and Tejeda are really squaring off here. 1 out on the board.
Shortest swing you got.
This has the feel of a big at-bat, really, even though it's still fairly early in the game. The 2-2 hit towards third. Cam Smith there. The second for 1 to first. Off the line. I think Jones would have beat it anyway.
Kyle Jones, a very tough player to double off. Just get the 1 out. That's not a bad play for Florida State. You'll certainly take it. And now in position to get out of this inning.
I have to say victory going to the Noles on that one. Even though Stetson still has a chance here in the form of Isaiah Barquette, who has really shown in this game with the glove. Hasn't been too bad with the bat either, though. Did single in the first. Eventually stranded at third. Hard line out to the shortstop in the second inning. So he's made solid contact both times. First pitch strike. Barquette hitting .261 in his last 10 games, 4 RBIs. Been consistent for Stetson this year. That one left field. Will that stay fair or foul is the question. Fair, and Jordan Williams makes the grab before hitting into the wall.
This year, the sort of pitcher that most ASUN teams wish they had. That's what's been Stetson's kind of separator, is the depth of their pitching staff this year. They don't necessarily hit for all the power that some of the other teams do, although today's results may beg to differ. But
yeah,
the depth of their pitching staff, to have a guy like Dylan Jacobs as your number 4, 5, 6 arm on your staff, that's a real luxury to have.
Jackson West, Jordan Williams, Max Williams due up here for the Noles, as Jacobs missing low there. 2-1 the count. Really, Stetson getting some pretty solid midweek starts this year against Florida State. John Madunio also had a quality start for the Hatters in their loss against the Noles. That one hit the short. Miola there. 1 down. Again, nice positioning there. Yeah, scouting report helping a long way.
That's good scouting. Absolutely. And Lorenzo fields his position so well. Pull hitter. That's a great piece of hitting, actually. That should be a base hit normally, but Hatters had it played perfectly.
Jackson West will give way here to Jordan Williams, the junior left fielder. Redshirt junior from Odessa, Florida, transferring to the Knolls from San Jacinto College. Had himself a pretty nice game on Sunday against the Pitt Panthers, swiped 4 bags, the most from a Knoll since J.D. Drew in 1997. Landon Moran with the ups and landing on the first base bag for out number 2.
Stetson's played phenomenal defense today, and there's another example of it. Hot shot by Williams.
You know,
Baltimore chopper, and that's why you've got the 6'4" guy with the long arms at first base. Heck of a play by Landon.
Not to mention the ups too. Very rarely do you see an unassisted to first look so pretty, to be honest.
I mean, that was the definition of a Baltimore chopper. Williams smashed that into the ground. It looked like it was going to bounce down the line, and that was probably, with his speed, that was probably a triple.
That plunks Max Williams on the outside shoulder, so first hit batter for Dylan Jacobs in this one. And that brings up the ever dangerous Cam Smith, as Max Williams will have to shake that off.
Yeah, Florida State is a team that makes a ton of hard contact. You just don't want to give them extra opportunities like this, or you had the walks in the 3rd inning, and now you got Cam Smith up in a potential run-producing situation.
Cam Smith in this game has reached. That came on a fielder's choice in the 3rd. Cade against Jacobs his first time up in the 1st inning. Lays off that one, and that's in for the strike. Cam Smith leading the Knolls in batting average and a lot of other offensive categories entering this contest. 387 to be precise. That one will help. Laced down the left field line. 2 bounces off the wall. Max Williams all the way to 3rd. Ty McGahee, the 3rd base coach for Florida State, holds him up there. Cam Smith with his first hit of the game. It's a double. 2 runners in scoring position for the guy who is responsible for FSU's only run in this one so far, James Tibbs III.
Well, Smith here. Yep, too much plate. That bat speed is so good. That's why he's going to be a 1st-round pick. Great hit tool. And it's actually really good fielding by Evan Griffiths. He plays the carom well. It's a good call at 3rd base to hold Max Williams, or he was a...
And has gone the coach route ever since. Southeastern Louisiana, 1 stop for him. 4 years back at his alma mater, Tulane, and then making the move to Stetson. As we're now looking at a 1-1 count for James Tibbs III.
You got to be careful here, and you have first base open, so there's no reason to throw one right down the middle or anything like that.
In the dirt.
And I wonder if that's exactly what Latham was talking about with Jacobs. That first pitch, Tibbs was out in front of it, but he hit it hard, and you don't want to make a mistake here. If you walk him, it's really not the end of the world.
Marco Dingus on deck. And Tibbs again fouling it off, much like he did with the first pitch of this at bat, 2-2.
That was a good pitch, though. Took a little off it. Had that downward break. Got him to hit it into the ground.
Max Williams at 3rd, Cam Smith at 2nd. Tibbs, the potential tying run. And he'll look at least one more pitch, full count.
Kind of 2-seam action there from Jacobs, keeping everything down in the zone. The home run was a little bit up.
And deposited into the road pen back in the 4th. The payoff. That one on the ground. Barquette charging, flipped the first, in time, side retired. So Dylan Jacobs, pumped up as he can be, going back into... He started this game as one of 5 Hatters in the lineup, batting over 300. 306 in his case, good for 3rd on the team. First pitch foul back for the DeLand native. The only Volusia County player on the roster for Stetson, actually. Hatters, of course, based in Volusia.
Their best ever player was from right out of their backyard, Jake DeGrom.
Yep, up in DeLeon Springs, which is just north of us here at Melching Field. In Logan's case, he is from DeLand proper. Played his high school ball at Winter Springs. Big cut there.
Their third best player ever was from nearby Volusia County, not in it, from Apopka, Logan Gilbert. Their second best player ever, Corey Kluber, is from Birmingham, Alabama, so not quite Volusia County adjacent.
Hughes down looking for strike 3.
I thought that was a little low.
And that is the first punch out for FSU in this game.
Wow. They actually lead the ACC in strikeouts per 9 this season. They're third in the country in strikeouts per 9.
That was a nice frame job by Jackson
Yeah,
West.
that was low, and the umpire was fooled by the catcher. Good stuff there from West.
One catcher now to another as Gio Cueto steps in. First pitch swinging for him. Gio reached on a walk, full count in the first inning. Popped out the center to start the third.
Actually, I apologize. They're second in the ACC, but third in the country in Ks per 9, the FSU pitching staff. Wake Forest is in second, and then Arkansas is in first. Here's another one that was not even close and called a strike.
The 0-2 popped up, foul territory, right in front of the Hatter dugout. Daniel Cantu snags it for the second out.
Tejeda giving Florida State some needed length here. He got into trouble in the fourth, but was able to weasel his way out of it. And now looking to post another 1-2-3 inning here. Moran keeps hitting the ball hard even when he's making outs, though.
Yeah, entering today on a real tear over his last 10, batting .350. He's been especially good in conference play the last 2 weekends. Big cut missing there, 0-1. Against Queens, going 6 for 13 with a home run, 6 RBIs, 5 runs scored, and 3 walks. Austin P, he went 7 for 13 with 4 runs and 3 RBIs. Really heating up at the right time. A player, Evan, that for much of the year has been around 250 land in terms of batting average, but this recent hot streak has him closer to 290 now. Now looking at an 0-2 count. And that one bouncing foul down the first baseline.
And for Tejeda, this is the whole key, right? Just throw strikes. He hasn't walked a batter here in 2 2/3. Now 5 innings pitched over his last 2 outings with just 1 walk. There aren't going to be a lot of college teams that can hit him if he's able to locate. It's been very encouraging stuff as you get towards the business end of the year for Posey and Blink Jarrett. Watching him, they can use him in high leverage spots if he's going to give them this sort of location and command.
Well, you're certainly tempted to use him in the back end of games when you can throw 96, 97 like he can. The 1-2. And Landon had to spin his way out of that one. 2-2. Moran 0 for 2 today. Popped out to right field in the first. Another hard shot to right field in the third. Both of his outs have been loud ones.
Yeah, that was against Tejeda. He worked a good at bat.
The 2-2. And that one to the net.
Kind of similar to this one. He got behind 0-2. He worked it back to 3-2, and he made really good contact. Just happened to be in the direction of a fielder.
The 2-2. In the dirt, full count. Landon Moran, you were talking about great Hatter players who are from the area. Landon not too far away from here. Altamont Springs, his hometown, just on the other side of the St. Johns River. Conference freshman team last year alongside Lorenzo Miola. The payoff. And that one fouled away over our broadcast location. Landon went to Lake Brantley High School before coming to Stetson. Along with Evan Griffiths, they were both high school teammates, actually. His dad, a basketball player at Murray State. Full count is fouled away over the third base stands.
And this is what Landon was doing from day one as a freshman last year, is working these kinds of at-bats. Draining pitchers, fouling pitches off, drawing walks. He's such an advanced approach for such a young player.
Another payoff, and down swinging.
Broadcaster jinx right there. That was one he should have laid off. Nasty back foot.
They're just hanging out, and that's why they've seen so much success. We talked about it earlier, playing together, Evan.
Indeed, Madison. Those kinds of bonding rituals, every team likes to do them. As Ding just hits this third short, Miola not able to get a good handle on it. And that will allow Dingus to reach. Question is, will it be a hit? Will it be an error? We'll wait, but regardless, it's a runner on first here. Knowles get the leadoff guy on. Daniel Cantu now coming up.
Yeah, I would think the leash will be pretty short with Dylan Jacobs here. Certainly the plan to go short with him has been abandoned because he's been pitching so well. But that is unfortunate, and it has been ruled an error on Miola. That is probably where I would have gone with the call as well. It's not an easy play, but it's one he should have. So interesting, we talked about Jaime Ferrer. He is the one FSU regular not in the lineup tonight. It's only the 4th game all year he hasn't started, and he's second on the team with 14 homers, so helps Stetson out to face him.
Cantu hits that hard, and that is off the wall. Throw down to second, Cantu in with a stand-up double. Dingus all the way to third, and all of a sudden, FSU really starting to threaten here with Alex Lodi's coming up.
Yeah, this was well struck, and actually Logan Hughes plays this well. Yeah, slider, too much plate, or a changeup actually, I think, from Jacobs there. Either way, inside belt high. Hughes knows he's not going to make a play on it, and by playing the carom and quickly getting the throw in, he keeps Dingus on third. Smart heads-up play there in right field.
And now it's going to be bases loaded. First pitch, Lodi's plucked.
Yeah, and just is Jacobs tiring out here.
That is the second hit batter from Dylan Jacobs in this game. Well, Brendan Walker is certainly more than warmed up. We've seen him out there
right, thrown
really from the second inning
50
on.
pitches out there at this point.
And I think that may very well be it. We'll find out, though. No motion yet from the Hatter coaches as Drew Farrow now steps in. First 3 Knowles to reach so far in this 6th inning. We've not had the Knowles reach on 3 consecutive batters at any point in this game.
He's going to get Farrow.
Jacobs firing high, 1-0. Farrow in this game is 0 for 2. Cade in the second. Grounded out to the pitcher in the 4th.
Real show of faith from Daniel Latham and Steve Trimper here.
The 1-0 is popped up into left center. This will probably play to run. Jones underneath it makes the catch. Dingus coming home from third. All runners moving up 90 feet. And this game is now a 2-run game. 4-2. Stetson, Farrow with a critical RBI as Jackson West comes on up.
Both teams probably take that. That's a really productive out for Farrow to not only score the run, but get everybody up a base as well. But if you're Jacobs, I think you're much happier to only have 2 outs to get than 3.
Trading it out for a run in baseball is you.
And Steve Trimper to be able to go to here.
Jackson West, Jordan Williams, Max Williams all due up here, so Walker's going to face 3 lefties essentially in a row as Williams is a switch hitter. That pitch in for the strike on Jackson West, who is part of a catching platoon here at the Seminoles. Him and McGuire Holbrook often splitting the dish duties. West the lion's share of those particular duties as he's now down 0-2 off of a stellar pitch from Walker there.
The FSU fans didn't like that call. Got the benefit of some earlier in the game. And we're going to talk some shop.
Yep, Ty McGahee, the third base coach for Florida State's going to have a chat with Jackson West, who is 0 for 1 officially in the game. Did walk into third, put out on a double play in that inning, grounded out to the shortstop to start the 5th. Up here in a critical spot, though. 290 batting average entering the game for him. 1 homer, 21 RBIs. The 0-2 bounces in the dirt, gets away from Cueto, and that's going to play another run. Daniel Cantu all the way home from third, and FSU is now 90 feet away from tying it.
One thing you couldn't do, just... that's the first real mistake the Hatters have made all game. It's a bad pitch. It's not great behind the plate from Gio. Just a real critical error And for a team who's played glorious defense throughout this game, that one stings.
Second wild pitch issued in this game by Hatters pitching.
I get wanting to junk one on 0-2 and try and get the strikeout, but you got to be careful.
The 1-2 hit into left field on the run as Griffiths makes the catch. The runner at third will have to hold. Not deep enough to move him.
I don't know. I probably would have sent Lodi's there. I thought that was maybe he was just a little caught off guard by how quickly that ball got out to left field. But I think you take the risk here.
Well, keep in mind also,
he's not even back at the bag. Yeah, I think that was the problem, was that he didn't make the right read right off the bat, which, to be fair, I think most people in this building thought it was a base hit.
Jordan Williams now, and I think one other thing you got to factor in too, Griffiths' momentum was taking him towards home plate. So he would have had all the momentum you could have wanted to uncork one straight to home plate. If he's running away from home plate when he makes that catch, maybe then the calculus is a little different.
Yeah. No, fair point.
Jordan Williams now looking at an 0-1 count. He is 0 for 2 in this game. Lined out hard into a double play in the third. Another line shot in the left field. Griffiths on the run. Over his head, off the wall. This game is tied. Lodi scores from third. And Jordan Williams slides in feet first for a double.
And this is not what you want to see from Evan out there in left field, unfortunately. He does not read this well off the bat. He would have been able to catch this ball if he'd read it right. But instead, watch how he thinks it's coming in front of him, then he goes the wrong way, and I don't think he ever really had it lined up. And Jordan Williams, in just his third start of the year, comes through with a huge double to tie the game. He had the line drive into a double play, and that Baltimore chopper that could have been a triple that Landon Moran made a great play on. So he was due to have some defense go in his favor for once.
Max Williams now top of the order. That's a ball, 1-0. FSU surviving that solo home run barrage the Hatters gave them in the second inning. They have now tied this game. The 1-0 from Walker is high. Max Williams has reached 2 out of 3 times in this game. Walked in the third. Put out on a stellar defensive play from Isaiah Barquette, a fake out that eventually saw Max Williams get run down between second and third. Also was hit by a pitch in the fifth, stranded at third. That one laced down the right field line. Plenty deep enough to get out of here, but it goes foul. Just ruled to the right of the foul pole, according to Marshall Santos, the first base ump. 2-1 count now, and Hatters maybe got away with one there. Walker, no fear, drops that inside for strike 2.
Good pitch. Got to be aggressive. You can't be afraid of these guys, or they're going to jump all over you. This is a great team, a national title contender.
Max Williams, 7 homers, 24 RBIs, batting over 300 on the year. That one in the dirt gets away from Cueto again, and that will allow Jordan Williams to move up another 90 feet. And now the Noles are 90 feet away from taking the lead. Full count here for Max Williams, first time all game that he's going to look at a full count pitch. Fifth time, actually, that a Nole batter has drawn the count full on a Stetson pitcher. That one ripped off the tarp and into the Brian Snyder hitting pavilion.
Yeah, Walker is really walking a tightrope here. He's just left his stuff over the middle. He's thrown a couple of wild pitches. He's got to settle down here and keep this game tied.
Dylan Jacobs with a great start. Ultimately will not factor in the decision. Another payoff. And Max Williams will see at least one more pitch. FSU, the 10th ranked team in the country. Hatters have done pretty good this year against top 25 teams. They've won 2 out of 3. Both those wins coming in the friendly confines. And Max Williams giving Walker a battle here.
Yeah, long at bat. Hatters have the bullpen up again here in case Walker can't get out of this. They really need him to make a big pitch here.
That's TJ Milani warming up for the Hatters. Another payoff. And another foul ball.
Give Williams credit. Walker keeps making pitches and Williams keeps fighting them off. It's been a good battle here.
Maybe the kind of small battle that could lead to a eventual win in the war. The payoff. That one hit weakly towards first. Moran on a foot race to the bag. He'll get there. And the side is looking for their 17th win in non-ASUN play. 16-9 officially on the year. Also looking for their 23rd win at home. They'll be at home for the rest of the regular season, as Tejeda's pitch is in for the strike on Miola. After this one, a critical weekend series in the ASUN against Central Arkansas. Hatters with a chance to still win the ASUN regular season title. They would need a lot to go their way. Central Arkansas, for right now, occupying one of the 2 final spots in the tournament, but they are not guaranteed that position.
No, they're going to be fighting for their lives here this weekend.
Yep, EKU, Central Arkansas, North Florida. One of those teams is going to lose out on those final 2 spots. 6 teams already clinched in the tournament. Stetson, one of those. And now Miola looking at a 3-1 count. He is 1 for 2 in this game. That solo homer in the second, the first of 4. He drills that one hard into center field. Backing up is Williams to the track, to the wall. That is gone! And Stetson needed only 1 batter to get the lead back. Lorenzo Miola with his 2nd solo shot of the day, his 6th of the year, and it is 5-4 for the green and white.
Every year, Steve Trimper comes into the season and says, we don't want to play gopher ball. Sometimes, once in a while, you got to play a little gopher ball. 5 home runs today for the Stetson Hatters, for Lorenzo Miola, the first multi-home run game of his career. What a time for it against one of the best teams in the country.
And Daniel Labrador, who hit 2 bombs of his own on Sunday against Queens, looks at a first pitch strike.
Something else to consider here. This strike zone has ballooned as this game has gone on. It is a huge zone right now, so hitters are going to have to be aggressive.
That one flared into right field. It'll be Farrow at second who makes the grab, though. Shallow right, shall we say. 1 down here, and that'll bring up Johan Desero. It's been a while, Evan, since we've seen this kind of home run production for Stetson in a game. I believe they had, I want to say the last time they had 5 homers in a game was last year's home opener against Manhattan. I know they had 5 in that one. I can't recall another game where they've had that many since.
They have hit more than 10% of their season home run total in this game.
And all of them solo shots. Definitely feels more like last year than this year. Desero hit one of those solo shots. Probably the best hit of those, actually. But now looking at an 0-2 count.
I would imagine that they have not hit a ton of solo home runs relative to other teams this year because of how good they are at getting on base.
The 0-2, that one bounced about 5 feet in front of the plate. Yeah, the Hatters very much a team that plays small ball, among the NCAA leaders in stolen bases. Their offensive style is more pass the baton. Today it's been more guerrilla ball. The 1-2, that one hit into center, that will drop right in front of Max Williams. So Desero on with his 3rd hit in as many at-bats. He's been kind of cold over the last 10, Evan, but he's heating up in this one, his 3rd hit of the day.
Yeah, he has had such a good year. He wasn't going to be cold for long. Another good piece of contact against all 3 pitches that he has struck. The first one was a hanging breaking ball from Sauser, but the last 2 have not been poor pitches by Tejeda. Excuse me.
Abraham still warming up for the Knowles. Looks like Connor Holtz is about to start warming up too.
This is the longest outing by pitch count and innings pitched of Tejeda's FSU career. And he already pitched 2 days ago and threw 2 1/3 innings against Pitt.
Griffiths, first pitch fouled straight back to the net, the backstop net that is, 0-1 the count. Griffiths, he had one of those solo bombs in the second inning. Popped out to left field in the fourth on a full count. The 0-1, missing low. Evan Griffiths, hometown Longwood, Florida. A guy who's bounced in and out of the lineup for Stetson this year. He's had his moments. Was particularly good for the Hatters over the weekend against Queens. Now looking at a 2-1 count. He's a guy the Hatters coaching staff very much believes has a bright future with this team over the next couple of seasons. It's really more about consistency with the bat. The 2-1, missing inside, 3-1 the count. He certainly has the power stroke going for him this year. Now 5 homers on the season in his 36th game played. The 3-1, that's ball 4. Kevin Flay not liking that one, so Griffiths draws the walk. Desero moving the second. Back to the top of the order here in Kyle Jones.
Yeah, you wonder if Tejeda's petering out a little bit here. He's been brilliant. Give them a chance to get back even in this game, but I think this is going to be all she wrote as I see Link Jarrett coming out of the dugout.
Indeed, the FSU head coach. Lincoln is his first name, but he goes by Link. In his second season in charge at Florida State.
By a youngster with a big arm like this, and pitched for a state runner-up high school program. He's going to be accustomed to big-time games, and the ACC tournament probably won't scare him off.
And Kyle Jones checking to make sure he still has a head after that pitch. That one's sailing high on Abraham. Kyle Jones has reached once in this game. That came on a solo shot in the second inning. The final homer in that frame for Stetson. Big cut there.
Abraham had a dominant outing a few weeks ago against an ASUN team. 3 shutout innings against UNF with no walks and 4 Ks. He did get roughed up his last time out against Pitt. Gave up 2 runs in an inning and a third.
We've got Desero at second, Griffiths at first. Hatters already have got the lead back thanks to Miola's solo homer to begin this 6th inning. Hatters trying to give themselves a little bit of breathing room here, facing the 10th ranked team in the country. Hatters with 2 wins already this year against top 25 competition. UF earlier in the year when they were still top 5. UCF was number 16 when the Hatters knocked them off at Melching. And now that one high, 3-1 count now for Jones.
Yeah, you got a pitcher here with a high walk rate. You can afford to be patient if you're Stetson. They have feasted off of opposing bullpens all year long. That's why they have had so many comeback wins.
12 to be precise, entering this game.
Good pitch.
That one full count now on Jones. Only the 4th time in this game that Hatter batters have drawn the count full against FSU pitchers. And your payoff is low for ball 4, bases loaded.
Another freshman with a good approach, and Kyle Jones does his job. And now you have to get at least a couple home here if you're the Hatters. Try and push this lead back out to 3-4 runs. You're in a much better spot, obviously, but this Florida State offense is so powerful. It feels like leaving this with just the 1-run lead is not going to be enough.
Isaiah Barquette, he has had himself a day. With the glove, he's made some really nice web gem stuff, type plays in this game. He's also not been too bad with the bat. 1 for 3 with a single, eventually stranded on third in the first. Both of his outs were loud outs. A liner straight to the shortstop that would have been a hit otherwise. Another scorching shot in the left field that Jordan Williams grabbed in fair territory before slamming into the wall in foul ground to end that frame. And we've got a conference on the mound here, battery style, between West and Abraham. Jackson West, the sophomore, trying to advise his freshman pitcher on what he'd like to see here. Link Jarrett's going to come out.
The ERA, he's been excellent all season long, and now coming into a huge spot with the bases loaded and his team trying to stay in it against the Stetson Hatters.
Last time out, went one scoreless against Pittsburgh. First pitch, right to Cam Smith at third, to second for one. Not able to turn the double play is Drew Farrell. That will allow a Hatter runner to score. Desero in from third, and then make it a 6-4 lead for Stetson as Barquette drives in the run.
I think they might have had a chance. Barquette's mad at himself. And I know he wanted to get a hit here, or at least have a little bit more of a productive out. He did get the run in, so that's a positive result. But this probably should have been a double play. I think the slide of Jones kind of wrong-footed Farrell there, and he didn't feel comfortable making the throw. I think he would have had a chance at the double play.
So Logan Hughes will step in. Holtz with the hook first pitch, missing high, 1-0. Holtz coming to FSU, as Evan mentioned, via Jacksonville, with a stop at the State College of Florida in between. Very good at the JUCO level. He's been even better for FSU this year.
You see the movement on these pitches, the late break on that slider there. It is, especially for a left-handed hitter, just so hard to pick up.
Only 3 times all year has Holtz allowed any runs in his appearances. He's not allowed more than 2 in any of them.
I love this stat about the Holtz family. All of them, mom, dad, sister, played college sports, and none of them played the same sport. Dad played basketball, mom played volleyball, sister played soccer, and Connor plays baseball.
Well, clearly they believe in their sports diversity as a family.
They could win an Olympics.
3-0. That's in for the strike. Logan Hughes thought it was ball 4. Kevin Flay disagrees. Last time Holtz gave up any runs in an appearance, it came April 19th at Wake Forest. Gave up 2 runs in one in the 3rd innings. That one hit opposite field. Jordan Williams backing up to the track, to the wall, and it falls on the warning track. That's going to clear the bases. Logan Hughes with a 2 RBI triple. And the lead is back up to 4 for the Hatters.
That is the big hit that Stetson has been screaming out for all night long. 3-1 hanging slider. And Hughes is all over it, and Jordan Williams just cannot ever pick it up. The same thing happened to Griffiths earlier in the game, where he just gets turned around out there in left field. I don't know if he would have been able to make a play on it. That was hit really well and carried. There's not a whole lot of wind either. That was pure muscle from Logan Hughes, but what a huge hit for the freshman. Batting in the 3-hole to give Stetson some much-needed cushion.
Gio Cueto first pitch in for the strike, 0-1. Logan was very, very close to his first home run at home as a Stetson Hatter. An opposite field shot, too, would have been.
That is just the 2nd time Holtz has allowed a run since the beginning of April.
Yeah, prior to this, he's only allowed runs against Butler, at Clemson, and at Wake Forest. That's it. He's been solid for the Noles all year, but clearly the Hatters getting to him here. 4-run innings for Stetson in the 2nd, and now in the 6th. They could add to it here, potentially. Gio Cueto now looking at a 2-1 count. Reached in the 1st on a walk. 2 pop-outs in a row. In the 3rd and in the 5th. Hughes sitting at 3rd. And the hook from Holtz is in for strike 2.
See if Gio can get his first hit of the night and keep the rally going here. What a big inning by the Stetson Hatters.
The 2-2. And that one foul tipped by Gio.
He
Barely stays alive.
Barely grazed that pitch.
I think if West had caught it, it would have been strike 3.
Yeah.
So it was probably more West not catching it than anything else.
Well, that's tough play.
Oh, no, for sure. Something Gio would appreciate. I'm sure he's had a few of those in his career.
Yeah, that's true.
The 2-2. Stays out of the way. Appeal to first is denied. Full count here for the former Demon Deacon, who has to be having a little bit of a deja vu moment here. He has seen his fair amount of ACC ball in his college career. Started 22 games last year for a Demon Deacons team that made it all the way to the College World Series.
Yeah, Wake is another team that we'll expect to be there again this year. One spot behind FSU at 9 in the RPI.
And Gio Cueto fouls that hook off again.
There are 4 ACC teams in the top 9, UNC, Clemson, FSU, and Wake Forest. The entire top 9 is either the ACC or the SEC.
Yeah.
Indiana State is the highest ranked team not in one of those 2 conferences, out of the Missouri Valley at number 10. How about that?
The payoff again, high for ball 4. And Gio Cueto draws his second walk of this game. Walks are a big thing for him.
And not for Holtz, who has only walked now 9 in 21 1/3 innings this year and has been even better lately. But Hatters have given him some agita here in the bottom of the 6th, and the 2-run triple by Hughes, currently standing as the biggest hit of the game.
Gio Cueto now leads the Hatters with 42 walks on the season. And with Landon Moran coming up, he is now the 9th batter in this inning for Stetson. So the Hatters have gone around. And Holtz just cannot find the zone with that curve right now.
He can't get that pitch down. It's his bread and butter. He's leaning on it, but he cannot get it down in the zone to where it's breaking and fooling the hitter, where it doesn't look like a strike when it's coming out of his hand right now. He wants it to look like a strike and then fall off the table. He's not getting that effect.
Runners at the corners here for Stetson as Moran lays off again, 2-0.
And that was the fastball, which is, you know, this has been a trend throughout all levels of baseball, is decreased fastball usage. Even as velocity has climbed, even if it's 102, a fastball is still the easiest pitch to square up. Holtz is mostly a breaking ball pitcher.
The 2-0 misses outside.
He threw one on 3-0 to Hughes, and then 3-1, and he got punished for it. He throws one on 2-0 here to Landon and misses.
Landon Moran has yet to reach in this game. 0 for 3 officially. But he has been one of the hottest Hatter batters lately. Lays off there, and Holtz gets the strike call. Moran popped out to right field in the 1st, lined out to right field in the 3rd, K'd at the end of the 5th. You've got Hughes at 3rd, Cueto at 1st. And that one hit between short and 3rd, and Landon Moran has himself his first hit of the game, and it's the RBI variety. Hughes in from 3rd, Cueto moves up 90 feet, and it is now 9-4 for the green and white.
Only a matter of time before Landon got one. Fastball right down the middle, batting practice fastball. That is easy for Landon Moran against Connor Holtz, who just, for once, very rarely, just does not have it tonight. And Landon keeps hitting the ball hard. The Hatters have batted around, and we are going to get a 4th get out of this.
Yep, Miola had that solo home run we mentioned earlier in this inning, his 2nd of the game. If he goes deep again, it will not be a solo homer, as he's got Gio Cueto at 2nd, Landon Moran on 1st. Barquette driving in a run on a fielder's choice. Logan Hughes with the 2 RBI triple. Landon Moran with an RBI single as well. The 1-0 is high. And so far, Noah Short having trouble finding the zone, just like Connor Holtz did. Miola with 2 hits on the game, both solo shots. The first one gave Stetson the lead. The second one also gave Stetson the lead. And now looking at a 3-0 count.
They just got to find somebody that can throw a strike. Hatters have been consistently getting ahead in counts in this 6th inning here.
Short finally gets the call there, 3-1. This game, by the way, the second game for an A-Sun team today, featuring a team in the top 25, North Alabama, taking on 16th ranked Mississippi State. That one just starting, and that's ball 4. So Miola draws the walk, bases loaded here for the ever-dangerous Daniel Labrador. 5th
walk by FSU pitching, and by the way, that is a big problem for this staff. They're a very good pitching staff overall. They're top 30 in the country in ERA. Of course they are, for how good a team they are. They are 12th in the ACC and outside the top 150 nationally in walk rate.
Last time Daniel Labrador stepped up with bags full, it was against Queens, and he smashed it over the wall for a grand slam.
Well, wouldn't that be something?
One of 2 homers in the game for Labrador on Sunday. And maybe with the DH job moving forward with Brandon Hilton dealing with injury issues, Labrador's been the DH of choice more often than not. He's got 6 homers on the season. Yet to find a hit tonight, though. He has reached on a hit by pitch in the 4th. The 1-1. And Labrador backs off.
Good eye.
Labrador entering tonight, batting over 300. 307 to be precise, one of 5 Hatter batters over 300 at this point in the season in the starting lineup. The 2-1, and that one's popped up. Should be playable for Tibbs in right field. Side retired. So FSU finally gets out of this nightmare bottom of the 6th. Hatters came into a tied. They now have the lead. Evan Weston has the
win as Coppersmith comes in. And you could tell how much this game means to Stetson. Not only from a bragging rights and pride perspective playing a top 10 team, but from the RPI, which is so crucial in the A-Sun tournament. They win this game and pick up a quad 1 win like this right at the tail end of the year. There is virtually no shot that they can fall out of the top 4 in the RPI and lose out on Pool A, the much, much easier side of the A-Sun tournament bracket, where 3 of the 4 teams will advance to the semifinals.
Yeah, and really, that's a big goal for Stetson right now. They just want to avoid Pool B in the tournament, and theoretically it could happen, especially if Jacksonville ends up winning the conference title because of their low RPI.
Coppersmith with a 4-pitch leadoff walk to Cam Smith. Well, that is very unlike Zane, and not the start you want after your offense gives you 5 runs.
Indeed. Last time we saw Zane Coppersmith, it was on the road against Queens. Gave up a run on 2 hits in 1 1/3 innings, but he's generally been very good all year long. He's only given up runs in 4 of his appearances this year. Bethune-Cookman, Eastern Kentucky, Bradley, the other ones. He's been particularly good, really, in the midweeks when he's been used. Although lately it's been mostly against A-Sun competition. He did pitch an inning and a third against Florida State in the 1-0 loss the Hatters had in Tallahassee earlier this year. And I think we're going to see...
Yeah, this is smart from Barquette to come in and settle down Coppersmith as he's delivered 5 straight out of the zone. You know how careful you have to be with Tibbs, but at some point you got to throw strikes.
And by the way, folks, in case you didn't know it from watching the rest of this game, that little visit right there, I think that just cemented it. If you didn't know Isaiah Barquette was a coach's son, you now know Isaiah Barquette is a coach's son, because that is a coach's son kind of move right there.
Well, he made a play earlier in this game. It's on the Stetson Baseball Twitter account. Go look it up, where he faked a throw to first to get a runner in a rundown between 2nd and 3rd. He thought he wasn't paying attention to him. It was brilliant. And here comes Daniel Latham as Zane Coppersmith has no command at the start of this outing.
We still see TJ Milani out there
whooping Tallahassee. Inning and a third, 3 strikeouts against WVU. Scoreless inning against South Florida earlier this year.
And he's been solid.
3 1/3 scoreless innings against Austin Peay, the top offense in college baseball. But he just does not have any command here to start this outing.
7 balls in a row.
He's only walked 2 hitters once in an outing all season, and that was in February. He's done it again on 8 pitches for the first time since the 25th of February against Fordham. And that was in 2/3 of an inning. His longest outing of the year, has Zane Coppersmith walked multiple batters. and has not thrown a strike, and concerning for one of Stetson's most reliable arms to be this off, this close to the conference tournament, and give Florida State a lifeline in this game.
We're seeing double barrel action now on the pen. Evan, Ty Van Dyke joining TJ Milani in the warm-up.
Here's Dinges. Marco Dinges takes downstairs for ball one. 9 in a row out of the zone from Coppersmith. Dinges 1 for 3, grounded to second in the second, singled in the fourth, reached on an error and scored in the sixth.
Well, unless Zane finds the zone soon, they got to pull him.
And he hits Dinges to load the bases. Zane Coppersmith, unfortunately, just coming up empty tonight, and I would think they're going to have to go get him here with Daniel Cantu coming up, who's got 2 hits tonight. Let's see if they give him another batter or if they just decide to pull the plug. You would understand having faith in him with how good he's been all season, but I don't think they need to see any more. Latham is going to go get Coppersmith. Run. Milani has allowed a run in each of his last 4 appearances, 6 earned over his last 6 innings. But the good news on that front is he rarely walks anybody. That is his claim to fame. He's only walked 7 all year, and 3 of them were in 1 outing where he didn't allow a hit.
And he can rack up Ks quickly, too, when he's on.
And that ball is fouled away, and just like that, it's 0-2. That's exactly what he's being brought in to do. A good start for Milani here to get ahead of Cantu.
The fortunate part is with Stetson with a 5-run lead, obviously there's a ton of cushion. Even the worst case scenario, you still have the lead.
Smith on third, Tibbs the third on second, Dinges on first after the hit by pitch. The 0-2 to Cantu. Down and away, Cantu laying off.
Normally, as a defense, you don't like trading it out for a run. Considering the situation here, you'll take it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that's the main thing for Milani here. He's got to get an out, at least an out. If you give up a run, so be it, but you got to at least get an out here.
1-2, just outside. And I got to tell you, for as large as the strike zone has been for a lot of tonight, I don't blame the Hatter fans for thinking this was strike 3.
I thought this was strike 3.
It's outside, but that's been called a strike at times tonight.
That's why I thought it was strike 3.
2-2. Struck him out. Throw behind first. Double play. Gio Cueto picks off Dinges at first. Strike him out, throw him out, double play. 2 out in the 7th. The Hatters come up with another huge defensive play tonight.
Man, have we seen some gems tonight. Barquette might have been topped by Cueto here. He loves doing that back pick play. We've seen it all year, Evan, but never has he pulled it off in such a big moment in a game like that. That is fabulous work from Gio.
Wind out of the sails of Florida State just like that. A strike him out, throw him out double play. Here's Lodis, who was hit by a pitch and scored his last time. He swings and misses through the breaking ball. It's 0-1.
TJ Milani might get out of this inning without giving up a run. Considering the situation, that's remarkable.
Be unbelievable if he can pull it off. A base hit, though, gets Florida State right back into the game. 0-1. Bends away for ball 1. There is no weak spot in this FSU order. Lodis is now hitting .279. 6 homers, 34 RBI.
Coming into today on a 6-game hit streak, Evan, which is the longest on the team.
Plays a great shortstop, too. 1-1, curveball inside.
Also,
2 balls and a strike.
Also has the longest active on-base streak for FSU after Cam Smith's 56-game on-base streak was cut short in the Pittsburgh series.
2-1. Hit in the air, right field, long run for Hughes towards the line. He makes the catch. Side retired. Logan Hughes adds his name to the defensive highlights for the Hatters tonight. And they are out of the inning without a run allowed. It's a happy 7th inning stretch.
Probable than that last half inning. Bases loaded, nobody out, yet somehow Stetson gets out of it without giving up a run. That is remarkable.
Desser having a banner day, 3 for 3. The 4 solo homers in the second. He had 1 of them. He's also singled twice. Has scored a run in the 6th as well as on his home run. 2 overall. Up to 316 on the year. 10 homers. Cuts and misses through a fastball from the sidearmer Noah Short. It's 0-2. But then Florida State got right back in it. Tibbs the third hit a home run in the fourth inning. They put up a 3-spot in the sixth to tie it. And in the bottom of the inning, the Hatters respond with 5. And then
another homer from Miola.
Yep.
And then small ball, they've been doing all year.
They brought 11 to the plate in that inning. But
Logan Hughes with that big 2 RBI triple. That's really the one that I thought.
That was a big hit, yeah. Florida State loads the bases in the top of the 7th, and TJ Milani gets out of it without allowing a run. That one fouled over the plate, or over the stand, I should say, excuse me, 1-2.
Yeah, we have definitely seen some pretty remarkable stuff, some true web gems in this game. I wasn't sure anything this season could have topped what Barquette did with that fake out until maybe Gio Cueto's pick there with the bases loaded. That one, a critical out in a critical moment. And to do that against a top 10 team, that's killer stuff, man, really. This Stetson team, when they're on, they can really cause a lot of problems.
2-2 to Desero. Inside, ball 3, and they're trying to finish off wins over their 3 nearest Florida rivals in power conferences in UCF, Florida, and now Florida State. They beat UF early this year, beat UCF last month.
They swept USF.
Desero hits this in the air, pretty deep right field. Tibbs heading back to the wall. Bye-bye! Second home run of the day for Desero, the 6th for the Stetson Hatters, and they lead it 10-4.
Man, the Hatters have just brought it tonight. All kinds of good vibes in that dugout. I'm sure Madison can tell us all about that later on. And Johan, again, when this kid gets a hold of one, it is a moonshot. He doesn't hit cheap home runs. He hits absolute bombs. And both of his tonight have been bombs.
It took the last 10 games for Stetson to hit 6 home runs. They have hit 6 tonight.
And all of them solos.
One of them, Evan Griffiths, who's also flown out and walked 1 for 2. 2 runs scored, fouls one back to the screen. It is 0-2.
You know, I would love to take a deep dive in the Hatter record book. 6 solo homers in a game, that's got to be close to a record. Of some kind.
It's something you don't see every day, that's for sure.
No.
0-2 coming to Griffiths. Florida State had only allowed about a homer a game, 50 home runs in 49 games coming in today, playing some of the best teams in the country week in and week out. They've given up 6 here at Melching Field. And how funny is this after this game was 1-0 back in March at Dick Hauser Stadium in Tallahassee?
Yeah, I'm sure right now the Hatter coaches are thinking to themselves, guys, couldn't we have found this offense just a little bit earlier in the year? I mean, not that you'll ever complain about a top 10 win, but getting a win like that on the road would have been huge for the Hatters RPI-wise.
Strike 3 called on the inside corner. Short gets Griffiths for the first out of the 7th.
Still, though, to watch Stetson really starting to come alive offensively, and really the part of the year that matters the most. They've got Central Arkansas coming up this weekend, a critical ASUN series for both teams. Hatters still with an outside shot at winning the conference title. UCA needs wins to stay alive and get into the tournament.
Nice play there by Short on the first pitch to Jones. He throws him out for the second out of the inning. Kyle had the 4th of the second inning home runs, but now drops to 1 for 4 on the day, and that'll bring up Barquette. Isaiah 1 for 4. Had an RBI fielder's choices last time out.
And by the way, Central Arkansas, they're one of the teams in action tonight in the conference. 3-0 lead over Little Rock, top 3rd.
A good result for them.
Yep, they're on the road for that one, I believe. And then long drive from Little Rock to the Land. They'll be on a bus for that one, I think.
Little Rock is a pretty good team. They're well over 500 in the OVC. That would be a nice result on the road for Central Arkansas.
Speaking of conference results, haven't had a chance to mention this one.
Yeah, this is crazy. I know what you're about to say. And you're going to have to wait until the next half inning because Barquette grounds out to shortstop. There's a little teaser for you so far, but just as important was not letting Florida State post a digit in that top of the 7th to really shut them down here.
Sometimes that's the hardest thing to do, actually.
First pitch grounded to second. Routine play for Desero. One pitch, one out for Milani, who has been brilliant here so far tonight. Got to be impressed with his composure. And again, you know, at this point, it almost seems silly to make a depth chart for the Hatter bullpen because there are 7, 8 guys out there that they have trust in to come into a game and get big outs. And TJ Milani is very much one of those guys.
Deepest bullpen in the A-Sun.
They lead the league in ERA.
I mean, there's a reason they lead the league in ERA.
Yeah,
I mean, their bullpen is. I mean, starting pitching for Stetson this year has been kind of hit and miss. They've had good performances, they've had bad. The bullpen has been the most consistent part by far. They've gotten great appearances in long relief. They've gotten great work out of the back pen. Cole Stallings is making an argument, I think, for being, if not the top relief pitcher in the A-Sun, certainly in the top 5. He's had a tremendous year.
Phenomenal season for Cole, no question about that. 1-1 to Jackson West is in for strike, 1-2.
And while we get a chance here really quick, since we teased it, Florida Gulf Coast. They decided to play football against Florida Atlantic tonight, Evan, instead of baseball.
Yeah, this is crazy.
28-18 final.
28-18. What was it, 17-10 in the 3rd inning? Hot shot to short, nice play by Miola. And he gets up and makes the throw. Good pick from Moran for the 2nd out.
Indeed, and as Jordan Williams comes up, well, let's go through that. FAU started off the 1st inning with a touchdown. FGCU added it with a field goal in the bottom of the 1st. Then the Eagles put up 2 touchdowns in the bottom of the 2nd. Field goals from FAU in the 3rd and from FGCU in the 4th. And then they started getting a little weird as FGCU ended the game in the bottom of the 7th with a field goal and a safety for your final margin.
There's a strike to Jordan Williams, who is 1 for 3 with a double.
You know, I don't know about you, Evan, but I remember the days when, you know, college baseball actually had low scores. I'm sure Pepperidge Farm does too.
Yeah, long, big run environment. This is going to be a 1-2-3 inning for Milani, who has been outstanding out of.
So there really isn't a whole lot of risk to the Seminoles to throw him out at this point. Maybe he gives you a clean inning. Maybe he doesn't.
Logan Hughes has maybe the biggest hit in this game. For all the Stetson home runs, it was his 2-run triple that made it from a 2-run game to a 4-run game in the bottom of the 6th. Swings and misses through a 91-mile-an-hour fastball from Rowan. It's 0-2.
And that triple wasn't too far away from being a home run, too.
Yeah, bounced off the wall. Hughes 1 for 4 overall on the day, hitting .304 on the year. He's continuously come up in big spots as a freshman. Rowan strikes him out, though, and man, you can see why this young man has big potential for Florida State.
Yeah, huge arm right there. Logan just not able to catch up to that one. 3 straight pitches. Good morning, good afternoon, and that was good night. Nice location, too. That was probably strike 3 anyway.
So Rowan with his 28th strikeout in 14 innings pitched, 2 per inning. Gio Cueto takes fastball down at 91. Cueto is 0 for 2 with 2 walks. Made his biggest play of the game behind the plate in the top of the 7th when he got to strike him out, throw him out, double play, throwing out Dinges from behind at first base on a sick back pick.
You could argue that might be the biggest play of the game, actually. I think I would. Because consider the situation. It was bases loaded, nobody out. In that situation, as a defense, you're already thinking we're giving up at least 1, maybe 2. FSU gets the momentum going. They're obviously a very good offensive team. Who knows what happens at that point? Instead, what do you get? You get a great pitch for strike 3. That's good enough, but that back pick just made it upper level type stuff. I mean, I actually would argue that that was the play of the game so far, because that right there arrested FSU's momentum offensively.
By the way, some history tonight for Stetson. Speaking of big plays, we have records back to 2007 available on the Stetson website. Stetson has not had a 6-homer game going back to that time at least. As Cueto grounds to third, wide throw, but a good tag applied at first, by Cantu for the 2nd out. The club record for home runs in a game is 10. That was done back in 1990 against a 50-win Georgia Southern team that went to Omaha that season, but gave up 10 home runs to the Stetson Hatters in a game that year.
Pete Dunn definitely had quite a few teams that could mash. Now, granted, last year was actually the year that Stetson set the single season home run record as a program.
They
But
had 2 5-homer games last year, but they never had a 6-homer game. They've done it here tonight. All solo shots. Moran hits this one in the air. That's fairly deep, but it'll stay in the yard. Williams getting under it and makes the catch to retire the side. Well, 1-2-3 inning for Hudson title. They probably need to sweep Central Arkansas.
They do.
They definitely need to take 2 out of 3.
no. They absolutely have to sweep. There's only one viable path for Stetson.
Okay, well then there
There's
you
only
go.
one
I
viable
know
path.
Masada's done the math on this.
They have to sweep Central Arkansas. P has to be swept by North Alabama. Florida Gulf Coast and Jacksonville have to lose their series this weekend. That's the only way it can happen.
Isn't Stetson only 1 game behind Austin Peay?
But they lose all tiebreakers. They lose all tiebreakers to Austin Peay, to
But they
Gulf
wouldn't
Coast,
have a
and to
tiebreaker. They'd be a game ahead of them if
Right,
they win
but-
2 out of 3
but
and
if
Austin Peay
Stetson-
gets swept.
Austin Peay is 1 game ahead of Stetson right now.
Right.
So Stetson has to win all 3.
Not necessarily. If they win 2 out of 3 and then Austin Peay gets swept, Stetson would get ahead of Austin Peay. We'll figure this out.
Right.
3-0. Ball 4.
Wouldn't that? You know,
You may be right. I'm just trying to listen. The point is it's a very messy situation where
I
you've
think
got 6 teams that are at least in the mix mathematically going into the final weekend.
Well, I think the other point too, and I'm almost ashamed to say this, is that I have probably spent way too much time over the last 2 days trying to figure out all the permutations.
Yeah, sometimes you can stare at it long enough and it'll just break your brain.
Yeah. The ASUN this year at the top has been wild. And by the way, the last 2 teams getting into the tournament, that's also going to be a real wild one. You can see tiebreakers applied there too. But as it stands right now,
I'm looking at it. There is actually the only way Stetson, they can win 2 out of 3 and win the league, but they need a lot of other teams to lose to teams that are lower than them in the standings. So
Yeah.
they would need Austin Peay to get swept. They would need FGCU to lose their series. They would need Jacksonville to lose their series. So it's unlikely that they could advance by winning 2 out of 3, but it is possible.
yeah, the basics of it is this.
If they sweep Central Arkansas, they've got a real shot.
Right. The basics of it, though, is this. Stetson loses pretty much every tiebreaker that you can imagine at this point. The only 2 teams they hold tiebreakers against is Kennesaw State and Lipscomb, of the ones that are in the top
Of those
6.
that are still around,
And
yes.
Stetson is above them right now. So
Yeah, the 3 teams they're chasing, quote unquote.
they lose the tiebreakers to all of them.
Double play ball here up the middle. The flip to short. Miola, beautiful turn. 4-6-3, 2 outs. If they play like this, whether they win the league or not, they are going to be a threat to everyone, especially playing the conference championship here at home. More terrific defense from Stetson.
Man, that one hit off Milani. He actually lost his glove. I think that's the sound we heard. Actually, maybe a bit fortunate for Stetson that that one didn't deflect into right field or something. You
Call
usually see deflections in a situation like that.
1-4-6-3 on the double play, and that'll bring up Tibbs the third. Not often you see Cam Smith get doubled up, one of the best players in college baseball. He will end his night 2 for 4 with a walk, unless Florida State has a miracle comeback here. Tibbs the third takes a fastball for a strike at 90 miles an hour from TJ Milani.
Well, Stetson 1 out away from doing something no Florida team has done all year to the Seminoles. FSU perfect against in-state competition this year. Sweeps over Miami and Florida and Jacksonville. They played 3 times against the Dolphins and swept them too. UNF, FGCU, BCU, they've all had their chances.
1-1, just away, and Tibbs holds up, 2 balls and a strike.
And to think that that streak, and by the way, Stetson is the final Florida team that the Seminoles will face in the regular season.
It would be, yeah.
Maybe they see Miami in the ACC tournament. Who knows?
That is
But
crazy, though, isn't it, that they would lose that streak on the very last day? And
yeah.
Stetson, to get all of these wins, I mean, they felt very, very hard done by the tournament format last year. Determined not to allow that to happen again. It certainly seems like they are in the mix now. You can start to get the pen out to write them into Pool A here next week.
I mean, they were going to take an RPI hit no matter what happens with Central Arkansas because their RPI is so low. This is going to help.
Knowles down to their final strike. 2-2 inside. Yeah, Florida State comes in at number 8. You get a quad 1 win if you beat a top 25 team at home. There's very little chance that Florida State would fall out of the top 25 by the end of the weekend. So this will be a quad 1 win for the Hatters. Payoff pitch hit in the air, center field, fairly deep, and we're going to go another batter as James Tibbs III hits his second home run of the night. 23rd of the season for one of college baseball's best pure power hitters. He is going to make some professional team very, very happy when they take him off the board this July.
And by the way, the 2 homers tonight, now in sole possession of 7th place on the all-time home run list for Florida State. He's really showing off the power stroke tonight. Unfortunately for the Garnet and Gold, it's the green and white who've really been flexing their muscles all night long with the bombs. And that's what's allowed Stetson to be in a position where a late inning home run like that, well, that's just one piece of the puzzle. If FSU wants to keep their win streak alive against Florida teams, they're going to really need a crooked number here.
There's Dingus, who has been on 3 times, reached on an error and hit by a pitch. But he made the crucial out in that 7th inning, get picked off at first base by Gio Cueto on the strikeout that really relieved the pressure for Milani when he came in with the bases loaded.
Yeah, he was clearly caught napping on that play too.
1-1. Strike, no. Held up, says Marshall Santos over at first, and it's 2-1. Crowd does not like it.
Hatter fans, they got to see their team knock out Florida earlier this year, right here at home. They're only 1 out away from saying the same about Florida State.
Big cut and a miss on 2-1. I think Dingus was trying to beat Tibbs for distance on that swing. He's homered 12 times this year. He's got big power, but now he's down to his final strike.
Well, 1 homer is not going to really matter here. They need to get runners on board, and they don't have any outs to give.
2-2 pitch. Strike 3 called, and Stetson knocks off Florida State. A huge top 10 win for the Hatters in the season's final week. 6 home runs on the day for Stetson. A 5-spot
and has gone the coach route ever since. Southeastern Louisiana, one stop for him. 4 years back at his alma mater, Tulane, and then making the move to Stetson. As we're now looking at a 1-1 count for James Tibbs III.
You got to be careful here, and you have first base open, so there's no reason to throw one right down the middle or anything like that.
In the dirt.
And I wonder if that's exactly what Latham was talking about with Jacobs. That first pitch, Tibbs was out in front of it, but he hit it hard, and you don't want to make a mistake here. If you walk him, it's really not the end of the world.
Marco Dingus on deck. And Tibbs again fouling it off, much like he did with the first pitch of this at bat, 2-2.
That was a good pitch, though. Took a little off it. Had that downward break. Got him to hit it into the ground.
Max Williams at third, Cam Smith at second. Tibbs, the potential tying run. And he'll look at least one more pitch, full count.
Kind of two-seam action there from Jacobs, keeping everything down in the zone. The home run was a little bit up.
And deposited into the road pen back in the fourth. The payoff. That one on the ground. Barquette charging, flipped the first, in time, side retired. So Dylan Jacobs, pumped up as he can be, going